Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to work on another one of the Scott reels. Scott being the fellow out in California that goes to flea markets and finds unusual pieces. And this one is an Imperial, and I'm not familiar with that one, made in the USA, a model 711. So Scott sent this to me because he found it at a flea market. And he has a note on the bag here. It's missing, not missing, it's got a broken trailing arm here that appears to be a pretty clean break. So we got two pieces of this project. The first project we're going to cover on this video. We'll see if I have time to make a subsequent video on the other. But Scott is asking me if I can't use a cold epoxy, which is JB Weld. It's a cold weld for attaching these pieces. I've never had much luck with them, but we'll give it a go. We'll show you how to use cold weld epoxy in a subsequent video. But for now, we're going to take this reel apart. And on the first test with this one, seems to be fine. The anti-reverse, well, the anti-reverse is not there. And that makes sense because, well, there's no indication of an anti-reverse override. So this is an old knuckle buster where you provide the anti-reverse by holding firm to the handle. At least that's the appearance. We're going to take the external pieces and parts off. As we do, I'm going to suggest that if you like these kinds of videos, to please subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please hit the notification button. That'll allow you to see all of the reels that I'm working on, and you'll be able to judge which ones you want to watch as learning experiences, or to help you perhaps work on a reel that you own. That notification button shows when I post a video, and that gives you a heads up that there's one out there that you may want to see. So please subscribe. We removed the handle screw. Now we're going to remove the handle. And that's got a lever to it, so you just want to walk that up. It'll take a moment or two. These things have been on there for a long time, I'm sure, but eventually it comes off. You'll notice I have a protective glove on my hand. That's to keep the greases off of that. And that I use a parts tray. In this case, I'm just using the bottom of a fast food container as a storage bin for my parts, so that when I go to reinstall, I know where they are. Looks like there's two screws that hold this assembly on. It looks like you need a micro driver to do that because, well, there's a tiny slot, and you don't want to try using the wrong tool on small screws because you will get in trouble. And if you strip them on an old reel, it just complicates the issue because they're harder to find pieces. Alright, we took the two screws out, and now we'll open up and we'll see what's underneath this, the body of this reel. Just going to use a little pick to see if I can't work that cover out there. And with the pick failing, we'll try and see if we can't use a razor knife. There we go, a razor knife as an edge to pop that off. Underneath this, well, it looks like we have a cotter pin that's holding the axle shaft on. And we also have a screw here. Oh, that's a little piece. Notice when they fall out, this is holding your main gear in. Let's see what happens when we pull the cotter pin out. It looks like there's a screw for the crosswind block, so I'm not sure if that's going to solve this, but that cotter pin came right off the bottom here. And, well, that's the answer here. It's been holding it up, and that there is no piece below that. So we have a traditional crosswind block. Notice how that came off. You want to take pictures along the way if you're uncertain about the configuration, and in this case you certainly want to do that because the block is different. So you want to notice what the top is. You want to notice that the stud is on the bottom, and as you'll notice, there's an open side here. Well, this has got an interesting configuration to it. This has got a E-clip that's holding your axle shaft onto the spool, so that's the next piece off. I was looking for a a rotor nut and didn't see it, but we have an E-clip here, and that's holding the shaft on. I'm guessing we're going to be able to pull this off now, just like that. And once you push that off, you should be able to remove the gear. And that's a nylon gear. That's very interesting. I didn't see that, or didn't understand that when I initially took that off. Well, this confirms there are no anti-reverse components in this one. So all we want to do here is just clean up the old grease that's on here. We'll do that with a quick squirt of a penetrating oil. In this case, I'm using WD-40, but any penetrating oil will do. I use it as a degreaser. I do not use it as a lubricant. And I would recommend that you do the same. If you're working on fishing reels, I recommend that you only use fishing reel oils and greases. Those are specifically designed for marine use, and those will make a difference in how long your services last in terms of intervals. And if they're sitting for a while, they won't jam up or coagulate quite as badly as some of the others. And we got just a little bit more here, so I'm just going to use a little screwdriver as a scraper just to get those last little pieces of that grease out of there. This grease is totally out of the way, but it's settled there in the case, and you want to get as much of that out as you can. So much about servicing a fishing reel is really nothing more than cleaning it, examining the pieces and parts, and making sure they're clean, and then re-lubing. Here's what we have here then. We have just a shaft that's holding the rotor on. Sometimes you'll see the Japanese reels and that will have a rotor where the gear is attached. And on those, typically what you'll find is a little clip that holds that to the body. Let's see how that bail operates. That bail is going to get pushed off. It's going to come around. It's going to get hit right on the tab here, and it's going to flip back. All right, we can certainly take the pieces and parts here. They're all clean. There's nothing that's gone on here. That's, if anything, with this reel, it's just dried over time. So if you have a question on this reel or any reel in particular, if you leave it in the comments section, I'll try to answer that question for you. It doesn't have to be about this reel. Any fishing reel related question, I'll try and point you in the right direction. And if I can, I'll try and answer it. If I don't, well, maybe I know somebody who can answer that for you. This channel has a lot of great viewers that know an awful lot more about fishing reels than I do. And maybe they can help you out as well. All right, we're going to just put a little bit of grease onto the main gear here. And then we want to put grease into the center of the main gear where that stud is that's going to be driving that crosswind block. The reverse is how you make this thing work. We're going to put a little bit of grease onto the shaft that runs through the bushing. There are no bearings on this reel. So we have a bushing here, so we're going to grease it so this spins freely. And I'm thinking right now we want to put the main gear back in first. Now this main gear has got two flat sides to it. You'll notice that there's one on each side. I think this can actually come out and go right into the case. So let's seat it that way. That's the inner bushing. And then you saw the one fall out, that's the outer bushing. So with that installed, we can put the main gear in. And then we can bring this nylon gear. Now the nylon gear really doesn't need grease because, well, it's kind of a polyurethane based piece, almost self-greasing, but we're going to push the, I guess we have to seat this first by lining that up, and we want to get this so that it's into the groove, just like that. Make sure you bring it up enough that you can put that E-clip back into the slot. Go ahead and do that right now. Sometimes you can put this back in by hand. I know you can't see this, but sometimes you have just enough finger pressure will do that, sometimes not. All right, there's a hole in this axle shaft. It's probably hard to see, but it's right here. And that's where the leg of the carter pin is going to go. So we need to get that crosswind block. Remember what we said, if you didn't take pictures, you may have some trouble here. We took a mental picture of this one. Well, we also took it on our camera here. We said that the side here is the down side. That's going to go onto the main gear just like that. We're going to put a little bit of grease onto the axle shaft. Insert the axle shaft and find that hole. You want to find the hole in the piece here. And that's where your carter pin is going to go. So the corresponding hole for this is on the side of the block here. I guess my hands are in the way. So this carter pin is coming in from the side, but with a little effort you should be able to find it. I think I just found it there. We'll try, there we go, push it in, and you'll see that the other tag end comes out the hole on the other side. It's a different way to do it. That's kind of cool. I don't mind seeing that. Remember what we said, we have the other case bushing on this side. So you want to make sure that that gets seated into the case here. And then we're just kind of reversing out now. We're going to place the handle back on. Grab our handle screw and our tie-down washer. Start it by hand. The more you can do by hand, the better off you're going to be, because you will guarantee that you don't cross thread. I'll just give it a quick tighten here. And now let's watch it go. Well, look at how smooth that operates. No ball bearings, no anti-reverse, straight up and down mechanism, comfortably running. Take our Imperial sheet, which sits nicely into the cage, well engineered that it's nice tight fit there. Grab our 2 screws that go with that, and then I'll put a video together on that cold weld. We'll see if we can make that work for Scott. But in the meantime, if anybody knows who manufactured, or a little bit more about the company that manufactured the Imperial fishing reel, I'd like to know more. So spinning reels did not become popular until post-World War II. So my guess is this reel is from the 1950s. But beyond that, well, I'm just not sure. Up top here, just to take a quick look at the drag stack, we have a machined aluminum. How to assemble a spool. You have a drag washer on the bottom of the spool. Put that on. You have a little flex washer. That's the bottom of the channel here. That's going to provide some variability in the tension. You have the washer with the second drag washer up top. You have the top washer, and then we just have the adjuster knob. Simple enough. Okay, there you go, Scott. One nice working Imperial. Now we're going to go ahead and see if we can't somehow figure out if that weld is going to hold. All right. If you enjoyed this, please like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. To those of you that are first responders and essential personnel, thank you for all it is that you're doing to keep us safe during the pandemic. And to everybody, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.